Alright guys, welcome back to the channel. I'm going to give you a little update on this rear diffuser. So with the AWE exhaust, I had originally dremeled away a little bit here, but I don't know if you can tell, but it actually did get really hot and kind of melt inward this way, while this side of the diffuser fin melted a little bit outward this way. So I don't know if you can tell, but it's a little bit like I would say rough, but it's like it's melting out here. So what I'm probably going to do is I'm probably going to cut a little bit more away here. We'll still give it the structural integrity. This thing is solid. I mean, it is not moving, but it is a bit melted over here. Now this side, over here, where I did not have to cut away, it is fine. And on this side here, it is perfectly fine. This other middle fin here, where I cut it away, it actually did melt right here. I don't say melt, but I guess it melted. It disfigured itself inward a little bit here, and this got a little bit sloppy, but it's still structurally intact, so I may just shave a little bit of that off. And on this side of the same diffuser fin, this one melted outward here. So I don't know if you can tell, but that is not, usually it should be straight up. This side here got really hot. So this pipe right here that goes into the bottom part of the X pipe does get pretty darn hot because it melted this, even though I had actually taken a piece of this away. But I'm probably going to just grind a little bit more of this down, get that a little bit smoother in there. And this one where the resonator is, where I had grounded down a little bit, did not get melted at all. So I guess this resonator doesn't get nearly as hot as this downpipe. So if you are going to do this one-piece diffuser, which I absolutely love, just be aware that you may run into some metalling or melting. Just be aware you may run into some melting issues with modified exhaust like the AWE, or if you do the Paragon or one of those. I mean, it's a little dusty, but this thing is rock solid, man. It is holding up great. I love it. And it looks really sharp, and it really does help with the aerodynamics of the car. No, not really, but it looks like it does. So that's just a quick update just to show you how hot these exhausts get. Be aware of them. If you need to grind those areas down, do so. I mean, that just looks super sharp. I love it. I love the way that diffuser looks. I'm not taking it off. I'm just going to clean it up a little bit. Here. Let me know in the comments if you're having any issues with your diffuser fins melting, or if you have any other questions. I'm happy to help you guys out. Thanks, guys. Take care. Alright, so I have the diffuser fin off, and you could see where it got melted away. So I'm going to Dremel off and probably try to heat gun and melt this back out into a better position so it's straighter like this. And then I made something to make a little bit of a heat guard to prevent more, I guess, melting and, I don't know what you would call that, deformation of the material. So, and you can even see a little bit up here got a little bit heated up, but again, this is to be expected. I'm not really that worried about it. You can't see any of this, but I'm going to just straighten this out. All right, I'm going to try to heat this up with a heat gun. So before I cut away some of the extra plastic that melted to make a little more space between the exhaust pipe and this, I wanted to bend that back out. I don't know if you could tell how bent in it is here versus now. And yeah, it's a little wavy. We're going to clean that up and make it look a lot nicer. And then I'm going to put the heat shield in there. But I wanted to keep as much of the material for integrity of the strength of the material, even though it's getting a bit weaker now that it's been melted somewhat. But that's really the purpose of it, and we were doing it on 650. I was actually melting this at 650. Alright, got my safety goggles on. I'm going to trim up some of the plastic here, cleaning this area up. So it still looks kind of wavy-ish, but I cleaned up all or most of the burnt parts. I'm going to sand it and clean it up, make it look a little cleaner. But from behind, you really can't see it, and that's the cool thing. So when it's on the car, you really don't notice the waviness that's on the bottom. Sanding bit. Alright, so now I've got this cleaned up enough to where it's decent enough. From behind, this is what you'll see. You don't see it, it's underneath, so you really can't tell from this angle like what you're looking at here, but it's going to be good enough. I'm going to put something for, I guess you could say, a heat guard, protect a little additional heat from the metal, and so we'll work on that next.
I fabricated these little plastic, you do hate these, to get this to rest. Just like that. I checked the fitment. It was actually a little bit high here. I knocked it down. That's going to sit right there. And that's going to sit right there. This side's a little taller than the other, but that's okay based on how the piping is. This side has a little less clearance. This side has more clearance. I'm going to go ahead and JB Weld these suckers down. And in the morning, it should be ready for install.
Alright. So I got this area all cleaned up here. It's a tiny bit wavy, but you're not going to see it. What I'm going to use is the JB Weld steel stick. The reason I'm using this is it has a high strength of about 4,000 psi. I'm not that concerned about the strength. It has up to 350 degree temperature strength up to that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put a decent amount in here and in here to hopefully dissipate some of the heat if and when it comes off. I've been contemplating using some type of metal, although I'm starting to dislike that idea. The way this material works, you should wear gloves. You're going to crack this open, basically there's two parts in here in the plastic. You're going to peel this off, remove any little end caps, and you can see there's a dark gray and a light gray. And you're going to take your fingers, this is all garbage, you're going to take your fingers and you're going to basically pretend you were back in preschool, and you're going to make Play-Doh. And when you're doing this, just keep folding it over and folding it over. Eventually it will become even throughout. And what this is doing is it's basically like a resin. You've got a hardener and a resin, or two-part material. This is two parts of this, and it's going to turn into a solid color gray. You can see it's already starting. Just keep it going, keep folding it over, roll it out. This makes you feel like you're a child again. You can make shapes, you can make circles, you can make little hearts. Just kidding. Whatever, but you basically want to get it to be one uniform color. Alright, so that's pretty good right there. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this material and I'm just going to lay it in this groove to where it's flat. Not going past where the screw section is here, but getting it basically up to that. And again, this is just going to give it more structural rigidity, and I want to say some absorbency or resistance to the heat that comes off of those exhaust pipes. Essentially, that's what I'm trying to do here. So this way it doesn't melt anymore, even though it did before a little bit. And just work it on in there. Doesn't have to be perfect because this is on the underside that nobody's going to see, but I'm a bit OCD, so I'm going to get it to look pretty decent, I guess. So that was one steel stick. I guess I'm going to use one steel stick on each side. And it's kind of bowed, if you will. Now, because it's cut down from where it was before, it's not going to absorb as much heat on those plastic sides or rails here. However, this will give it some more structural rigidity to not melt under hot circumstances, and it'll give it some more structural rigidity. So there you have it. I guess that's pretty good. I'm going to do the other side now, just the same way I did this side. Yeah, that looks pretty good. I think each one of these costs about 10 bucks, maybe less, maybe 6 or 7 bucks, I don't know. Steel Stick, JB Weld, they make great products. I use a lot of their stuff. So we'll crack up another one for the other side. Alright, so there you have it. JB Weld steel stick putting in place in here to help distribute some of that heat, keep this thing from melting, and it didn't add a whole lot of weight. For those of you who are worried about ounces of weight, you're not going to add a lot of weight to your car. Alright, let that cure. We'll see where we're at. Alright, so there's the final product. It is done. I don't know if you can see. It looks really good. It's holding up very well. That's with about 1,000 miles of driving, heating on, heating off, sinking. It's holding up perfect. There is zero melting, zero distortion. It worked out perfectly. So the steel stick by JB Weld in there, and look at that exhaust. It's changing colors, almost like a titanium exhaust. It's freaking awesome. I love that thing. It came out really good. Alright, so if you're having diffuser issues where yours is melting, or the fins that you have are melting due to your either stock exhaust or your aftermarket exhaust, the JB Weld worked very well. It has good heat resistance, and it gives it very good structural rigidity. it's a win-win. So quick, easy fix, cost you maybe $10 per thing there. So you're looking at maybe a total of 16 to 20 bucks. Very easy fix. You saw me do it. So hop to it if you have an issue there. Let me know in the comments if you're having any issues with your diffuser fins melting, or if you have any other questions. I'm happy to help you guys out. Thanks, guys. Stay tuned for more. Like, share, subscribe. Joe's Garage. Woo-hoo-hoo!